Greetings and salutations, I am Tim the MegaRetroGeek coming right at you. Tonight we are going to dive in to a long lost artifact in the Sega Genesis library. Today we're going to be talking about none other than Street Fighter II on the Sega Genesis. Which version? Honestly, it is the first one that was actually released in the Sega Genesis in 1993. AKA Special Champion Edition, AKA Street Fighter II Plus from the Mega Drive. And this is not an ordinary PAL game. This game packs a punch, literally. Honestly, this game was pretty much your introduction. If you didn't have a Super Nintendo, this pretty much was the only one that you could get a hold of if you only had a Sega Genesis back then when you were a kid. In the 90s, Street Fighter II was just this phenomenal beast. However, when the Genesis version finally showed up, which is playing on this TV right here, we had a lot of issues because the sound quality and it just didn't really lack of the potential of what it could be. Now, for hardcore Street Fighter fans, we do know that the PC Engine version exists, and of course the Street Fighter II Turbo was like phenomenal when it came to arcade perfection. Don't get me wrong, the Genesis version is perfect because for me, the 6-button controller were where it was at. Because, you know, the layout and the Super Nintendo controller being L and R and X and YXBA was just kind of but except you had to get used to it. But if you want perfection, Super Nintendo was already that. But lo and behold, the Sega Genesis fans got their wish in 1993 when this little bad boy came out. However, it turns out that the game was incomplete. And it wasn't until the year 2016, that's right, 2016, we found out there was another variation of this, a final beta cut that didn't quite make it. And there's so much that was left behind. So tonight, I'm going to review and compare why this new version, Street Fighter II Remastered Edition, is a lot better than the original. This one just hit the market. It's actually a homebrew reproduction cartridge. It just came out. Just got it in the mail not too long ago. Been down to do a review on it and been down to play it more. There was a lot of perfections in this one compared to the original. Now, the newest version is playing on the big TV while the little one's playing the original version. There is a lot to actually talk about tonight, so bear with me, and here we go. The number one thing you're going to realize is when you start it up, you're going to be presented by a huge, creepy version of M. Bison himself, or Vega for those who played in Japan a lot. And when you get started, it just says Street Fighter II Remastered Edition. And what it did, it just completely transformed it. But in 2020, we finally got this freaking game. See, 2020 is not that bad. Just brand new Sega Genesis games on the loose. What more could you ask for? So I had to find out what the heck it was because there was an article on NintendoLife.com that says now Genesis owners don't have to feel bad about their original. Well, this pretty much proves it why. Honestly, there was actually the font is changed and it looks closer to the PC Engine version, closer to the arcade version. Also, I noticed that Chun-Li's fireballs changed. It looks a lot cooler. It actually also Guile's Sonic Boom looks exactly like Super Street Fighter 2. So get prepared for that one. Also, it's uncensored too. So if you play the Japanese version, you know what the introduction looks like. And there she is right there in the flesh. Because usually it was just two white guys fighting, but now it's kind of a black guy and a white guy. So, you know, it was a lot of controversy back then to censor it, which I can fully understand in this day and age. But this version remasters the original arcade feel and look. I don't know why in the world they did that to this day, but let's see. Other additions too I noticed in this copy is a lot of the character artwork has been really increased to look and match the colors of the arcade itself. The sound effects just a slightly variation. I noticed like classic characters like Blanca. If you notice, his roar was a little bit more distorted in the Genesis original version, but in the remastered edition, you actually get a little bit better. Also, I noticed that M. Bison's Psycho Crusher does way more damage, and the one thing I like about it is the power bar. You can see how much damage it's doing as it's progressing. The actual control scheme is a lot more efficient and is more responsive. Also, I noticed the difficulty has been increased too compared to the original version. To me, I felt like this game was awesome, but it was a little bit too easy. Now, the Super Nintendo version, I felt like the Street Fighter II Turbo gave you more run for your money, right? Well, this remastered edition, it matches to that of the Super Nintendo version, so be prepared for a good fight if you can find this copy. A mad shout out to a good friend of mine, a new friend of mine actually. His name is Toysaurus. He's actually on Instagram. He was nice enough to actually make me his copy with an awesome legit case and everything. It's pretty badass. The cartridge. Now, just to be safe, both actually this version and this version are both playing on the original Model 1 Sega Genesis, and I'll demonstrate that real quick just to show you that, yeah, I ain't fooling. I actually am playing on the real legit things. Put it down real quick. A little bit too dark in here, but I'm gonna pump it up for you. All right, so if you look right about here, there's that one, the original one, and then way over here, there it is. So I got two original Sega Genesis ones, just to prove to you that both are running on the exact same. That way you get the unique sound chip and everything. So, sorry as a looky-loo of the guru of my room. The place is a complete mess. Trust me, I haven't had a chance to clean it. It's funny because, you know, I became a father not too long ago, so there's that, you know. So, time is of the essence, and just name drop on that drink. Anyway, but honestly, I gotta say, this one makes you proud to have the Sega Genesis version. I will say, though, that the sound effects are not as hot as people keep, you know, they complain, because when you hear Vega, when you bring something, there's a slight differentiation. Also one thing that is really strange is the music. The music has a little weird remixes, and they're, to me, they kind of grow on you. They're a little bit different, but to me, this also proves that if Capcom had just a little bit more time, they would have perfected this. But we already knew that Super Street Fighter II was already on the way, and by '94 they had to pump out something quick. So regardless, this game is still honestly one of my beloved favorite ones. But when I heard that this little guy came around the corner just 4 years ago and finally released on the cartridge just this year and this month, that tells you there's a little bit more hope that there's more classic Sega Genesis games that have been lost in the cracks of time. But yeah, this one has a vast improvement, and the color scheme is cool. Also, you'll notice that when on the character select screen, one last little tidbit is Blanca's actually finally matches the arcade. For some reason, in the original version, they only used the very first Street Fighter II World Warrior. So yeah, for those who are like very nitpicky about, you know, Street Fighter II variations, this game pretty much answers your questions and makes it better. I gotta say, it's a pure masterpiece. I will admit that it took me a long time. I had issues trying to perform Chun-Li's Fireball or Kikoken, and it turned out that it's just me that sucks, because I'm so used to that alpha move where you had to charge it, you know, hold back, press forward, then punch. No, this one was down, or back, down, forward, punch, and then it actually executes. But Chun-Li's new Fireball is a lot more accurate and it looks a lot more cooler. Also, I noticed that they actually brought back the Mike Tyson reference for Balrog. That was kind of cool. Oh, and the last piece of the thing is awesome as heck. Better translations when the victory poses. Like, you know, when Ken wins, he says, "Attack me if you dare, I will crush you." There's actually better translation, and the endings are better too now. They retranslated like the actual documentation of what they're actually saying. So there you have it. I'm sorry we're blocking the other TV, you know, because it's really hard to compare. But seeing is believing. You can find the actual. But basically, they took this game and patched it up with a ROM emulation. And usually I frown upon these, but when it comes to actual reproduction carts, I'm okay with that, because actually I feel better for actually buying the game and actually having an actual thing. It's pretty cool. I love the artwork on this one especially, because that's like one of my favorite old school Street Fighter II posters right there. And I feel like the original one is still iconic as hell, because you see M. Bison kicking the crap out of Guile. Because in the other ones, you see like what? You see Blanca taking out Chun-Li, and then the other one you see Sagat getting his butt kicked by E. Honda. And of course in Super Street Fighter 2, all you see is just a silhouette of the new warriors. But except that, yeah, that one to me is real kick-ass. I would love to have like a giant poster of that someday. But honestly, this one still holds the bee's knees to me, this brand new one. And I was tickled pink. Only thing stinks though, they haven't created an instruction manual for it yet. But the day that comes out, you know, I'm definitely purchasing that in a heartbeat, because yeah, the original one's still cool as hell. But anyway, I digress. I am Tim, the Mega Retro Geek, and it has been a pleasure and honor to do this. If I get to see anybody else in the near future in person, please, I'm going to bring this for you, and I'm going to let you play it, because you got to see it to believe it. And I always love to compare and contrast these kind of things. But anywho, I want you to do me one favor, and one favor only, and that is stay retro, my friends.